Vexar Core stood at the front of the wide training hall on Unity Hub Station. His four powerful arms stayed folded across his broad blue chest. He watched the new trainees file in one by one. Most of them moved with quick, sharp steps. They knew the rules of his class. Punctuality meant respect. Anything less meant correction. The hall smelled of clean metal and faint sweat from earlier sessions. Bright lights shone down from the high ceiling. Rows of padded mats covered the floor. Alien species of every kind sat on low benches. Some had scales, some had feathers, some had smooth skin like polished stone. All of them kept their eyes forward. None dared speak out of turn. Vexar came from the Coaxi Dominion. His people valued order above all else. A late arrival broke the flow of the group. A broken flow needed fixing. His instructors had taught him this since he was small. Grab the arm, turn the body, march the offender to the front, make the lesson clear for everyone to see. Coaxi arms were strong. Coaxi grips never failed. Today the class held 30 trainees. Most were veterans from established worlds. A few came from newer species. The newest of all was the human named Riley Voss. She worked as an engineer on the lower decks. Her file said she fixed machines that others could not understand. The station needed her skills. The academy needed her to learn basic protocol. She had to sit through these sessions like everyone else. Vexar had read about humans before. They came from a small blue planet full of dangers. They survived floods and storms and beasts. Yet many aliens still saw them as weak. Their bodies looked thin. Their skin looked soft. They spoke too much and moved too slowly. In the eyes of the Coaxi, humans ranked low on the strength scale. Vexar believed the reports. He had no reason to doubt them. The timer on the wall clicked to the start of the session. 8 trainees were already seated. 9 more hurried in. Vexar counted them silently. 10 seconds passed. One else entered. He prepared to begin the lesson on joint locks. Then the door hissed open again. Riley Voss stepped inside. Her dark hair hung loose around her shoulders. She wore the standard gray jumpsuit of the station staff. A small tool belt hung at her waist. She carried a data pad under one arm. Her face looked calm, not rushed. She walked straight to an empty spot near the back row. Vexar felt heat rise in his chest. 8 minutes late. No apology, no bow, no quick explanation. She simply took her seat as if nothing had happened. The other trainees turned their heads slightly. Some whispered, some stared. Others looked at Vexar, waiting for his reaction. He stepped forward. His boots made heavy thuds on the mat. Every eye followed him. He stopped 2 paces from Riley. His shadow fell across her bench. He spoke in a loud, clear voice that carried to every corner of the hall. Trainees learn one rule first. Time is order. You arrived late. You broke order. Breaking order requires correction. Stand up now. Riley looked up at him. Her brown eyes met his yellow ones. She did not flinch. She gave a small nod and rose to her feet. She stood straight, with her hands loose at her sides. Vexar reached out with his lower right arm. His fingers closed around her upper arm. The grip felt familiar. Soft flesh under thin fabric. No muscle pushed back. No bone resisted. He expected this. He had corrected many trainees before. Some cried out, some tried to pull away. All of them bent to his will in the end. He tightened his hold just enough to guide her. He began to turn her body toward the front of the hall. His other 3 arms stayed ready in case she fought. The class watched in silence. Some trainees leaned forward. Others sat very still. Riley did not pull away. She did not shout. She did not beg. She took one small step forward, matching his pull. Then she did something unexpected. She stepped closer instead of farther. Her shoulder brushed against his chest. Moved up fast, but smooth. It found the inside of his elbow. Vexar felt a tiny shift in pressure. He ignored it at first. He thought she was only trying to steady herself. He kept turning her arm. He planned to march her the full length of the hall and make her face the class, while he explained the importance of time. But the pressure increased. Her fingers pressed into a spot he had never felt pressed before. His elbow bent in a direction it did not want to go. Pain sparked along the joint, not sharp, but deep. He grunted once, his grip loosened by reflex. Riley moved again. Her legs slid behind his forward knee in one clean motion. She pushed with her hip, not hard, but steady. His balance tipped. His forearms flailed outward, seeking anything to hold. His weight shifted too far forward. Gravity took over. The hall stayed quiet, except for the sound of his boots scraping the mat. Then came the heavy crash. His body hit the floor chest first. Air rushed out of his lungs in a loud wheeze. His face pressed against the padding. His arms sprawled wide. His legs kicked once, then stilled. 10 seconds had passed since he first seized her arm. Every trainee stared. No one moved. Riley stood over him. Her breathing stayed even. Her face showed no anger and no fear. She looked down at him with the same calm she had when she walked in. Vexar lay there stunned. His mind raced to catch up. He had trained for decades. He had faced warriors twice his size. He had never fallen so fast. He had never fallen at all. Not like this. Not from a human. Not from a small engineer who arrived late and said nothing. Slowly he pushed himself up on his lower arms. His upper arms trembled. He rolled to a sitting position. He looked at Riley again. She had not run. She had not struck him again. She simply waited. The instructor, an old neutral observer from the Zorat species, stepped forward. He raised one long hand. Silence held the room. He spoke in a low voice. Class paused. After review, whispers started, then, soft at first, then louder. Some trainees pointed. Others shook their heads. A few humans in the back row smiled, small, quiet smiles. They knew something the others did not. Vexar rose to his full height. He towered over Riley even now. His chest heaved. He felt no rage, only confusion and a strange new feeling he had never felt before. Respect, perhaps, or fear, or both. He looked at her arm, where he had gripped it. No mark showed, no bruise formed. Her skin looked untouched. Riley spoke then. Her voice stayed soft, but clear enough for him to hear. I fixed a power relay in the docking bay. That made me late. I did not mean to cause trouble. Vexar said nothing. He only stared. He felt the eyes of the class on him. He felt the weight of what just happened. He felt the floor still solid under his feet. Yet everything had changed in 10 short seconds. He turned away slowly. He walked to the front of the hall. His steps felt heavy. His pride felt heavier still. The class remained silent. Riley sat down again. She opened her datapad. She began to take notes as if nothing unusual had happened. But something unusual had happened. Something no one in the room would forget. Vexar felt the soft give of Riley's arm under his fingers. It was exactly what he expected. Human flesh always felt weak to him. No hard plates, no thick hide. Just skin and muscle that bent easy. He started the turn. The same motion he had used 100 times before. Pull the arm, swing the body, force the steps forward. The trainee would stumble a little, then walk ahead ashamed. The class would see. The lesson would stick. He pulled harder. His lower right arm locked tight. His upper right arm came across to grip her shoulder for extra control. He felt her body start to rotate, just as it should. His left arm stayed loose, ready to catch any sudden twist. He took one long step forward, his boot planted firm on the mat. Then Riley moved. She did not jerk away. She did not scream. She did not even tighten her muscles much. Instead, she stepped straight into the space he had opened. Her right foot slid forward. Her left foot followed in a quick, smooth line. Her body turned with his pull, but not the way he wanted. She flowed inside his reach. Her chest almost touched his lower ribs. Her head stayed level with his mid-chest. Vexar blinked once. He felt the shift, but could not name it yet. Her free hand rose fast. It looked lazy at first, like she was only brushing something off her sleeve. Then her fingers found the soft spot inside his right elbow, the exact place where tendon met bone. She pressed there, not with all her strength, just enough. Pain bloomed sharp and sudden. Vexar sucked in air. His elbow wanted to fold the wrong way. He tried to straighten it. His mind shouted at his arm to hold firm. The grip on her arm loosened by a fraction of a second. That fraction was enough. Riley kept moving. Her hip bumped his thigh in a controlled push. Not a shove, not a kick, just pressure in the right direction at the right time. His leading leg, the right one, felt the hook. Her left leg had slipped behind his knee without him noticing. She pulled back with that leg, while her hip pressed forward. His balance broke clean. Vexar's mind raced. 4 arms reached out, 2 grabbed at air. One tried to clutch her shoulder. The last one slapped the mat for support. None found anything solid. His center of mass tipped past the point of no return. Gravity claimed him fast. He felt the world tilt. The bright lights of the hall spun once. The faces of the trainees blurred into color streaks. He heard his own heartbeat loud in his ears. Then the floor rushed up. His chest hit first. The padding took some shock, but not all. Air exploded from his lungs in a rough grunt. His chin smacked the mat. His forearms sprawled wide like broken branches. His legs kicked once in reflex, then flopped still. His tailbone throbbed. His pride burned hotter than any bruise. 10 seconds. Exactly 10 seconds from the moment his fingers closed on her arm, until his body struck the floor. The training hall went dead quiet. No coughs, no whispers, no shifting feet. 30 trainees froze in place. Some sat with mouths open. Some leaned forward as if waiting for the next move. A few humans in the back row exchanged quick glances. One gave the smallest nod. Riley stood over him. Her feet planted shoulder-width apart. Her hands hung loose at her sides. Her breathing stayed slow and even. She looked down at Vexar. Not with anger, not with triumph, just calm, clear eyes that studied him like she studied a broken circuit. She saw the rise and fall of his chest. She saw the way his fingers twitched. She saw no blood, no broken bones. Vexar lay there for 3 long breaths. His lungs fought to pull air back in. His mind tried to rebuild what just happened. He had faced Crag enforcers twice his weight. He had pinned down armed raiders from the Rim worlds. He had trained every day since he could walk. Yet this small human female had put him on the floor, without raising a fist, without drawing blood, without even breathing hard. He rolled to his side. Pain shot through his elbow. He ignored it. Pushed up with his lower arms. His upper arms shook. He got to one knee, then both. He stayed there for a moment, head down, chest heaving. He felt every eye in the room on his back. Riley did not step away. She did not run. She did not gloat. She waited. Vexar lifted his head. His yellow eyes met hers again. This time, he really looked. No fear lived in her face. No hate. No pride. Only quiet focus. Like she had done a simple task, and now checked the result. He spoke. His voice came rough and low. I had you. I controlled your arm. Riley answered in the same soft, clear tone. You thought you did. Grabbing someone starts a conversation. The body answers back. Mine answered yours. Vexar felt heat climb his neck. He wanted to stand tall again. He wanted to grab her once more. He wanted to prove this was luck, a fluke, a mistake. Yet his body refused to move fast. His elbows still throbbed. His balance felt off. He stayed on his knees. The old Zoroth instructor stepped forward. Legs carried him smooth across the mat. He raised one hand, palm out. Class paused. He said again, We review now. No one moves. Trainees shifted then. Some exhaled. Some muttered low words in their own tongues. A scaled trainee from the Vren cluster hissed softly. A feathered one from the airy flock clicked its beak in surprise. A human woman in the third row whispered to the man beside her, "Told you they should not grab people like that." Vexar pushed to his feet. He rose slow. His full height towered over Riley once more. He looked down at her. She looked small. Thin arms, thin legs, no extra bulk. Yet she stood steady, no tremble, no sweat on her brow. He rubbed his elbow with one upper hand. The joint ached deep. He spoke again, louder this time, so the class could hear. "You used trickery. You turned my strength against me." Riley shook her head once. "No trick. I used physics. Your mass, your speed, your grip, all worked for me. I just changed the direction a little. You did most of the work." Vexar stared. He had heard of human martial ways in old briefings. They called them leverage arts. They said humans did not fight strength with strength. They turned force. They waited for mistakes. They survived by being clever, not strong. He had laughed at those reports. Now the laugh stuck in his throat. He looked at his hand, the one that had gripped her. No marks on her arm, no red lines, no swelling. Her skin stayed pale and unmarked. His fingers had squeezed hard enough to leave bruises on most trainees, yet she showed nothing. Riley noticed his gaze. She lifted her arm, turned it so he could see the inside. "No damage. See," she said. "I train my body to take pressure. I know how to move with it, not against it. You can do the same if you want." Vexar said nothing. His chest rose and fell. He felt the weight of the class watching. He felt the burn of shame. He felt something else too. Curiosity, perhaps, or the first thin crack in his old beliefs. The instructor spoke again. "For today, trainees dismissed. Return tomorrow. We discuss respect and force then." Trainees rose slow. Some looked at Riley with new eyes. Some looked at Vexar with pity. Some just wanted to leave the room fast. Riley picked up her datapad. She tucked it under her arm. She gave Vexar one last look. Not smug, not sorry, just steady. Then she walked toward the door. Her steps stayed even, calm. Vexar watched her go. His forearms hung heavy at his sides. He felt the floor under his boots, solid, real. Yet the world had tilted in 10 short seconds, and he did not know how to stand straight again. The training hall held its breath after the crash. Every sound died, except the faint hum of the air vents and the slow wheeze coming from Vexar's chest. He lay flat on the mat, face down, arms spread, legs limp. The impact had shaken the floor a little. Trainees felt the vibration through their seats. No one dared speak first. Riley stood still above him. Her feet stayed planted wide. Her hands hung open at her sides. She watched his back rise and fall. She counted his breaths without moving. 1, 2, 3, 4. He lived, he breathed, he would stand again. She knew this from experience. Vexar felt the padding cool against his cheek. He tasted metal on his tongue from a small cut inside his lip. His lungs burned for air. He forced them to work deeper. He pushed with his lower arms. The mat gave under his palms. He rolled to his side. Pain flared in his right elbow and along his ribs. He ignored it. He rolled again. He got to one knee. His upper arms braced against the floor. Head. Yellow eyes met brown ones again. Riley had not stepped back. She had not turned away. She looked straight at him. No smile, no frown. Just calm, steady gaze, like she checked a machine after repair. The silence stretched long enough for hearts to beat 10 times. Then a low murmur started in the back row. A Vren trainee hissed through sharp teeth. A pair of airy feathers rustled. Someone coughed. Another whispered too soft to catch words. The sound grew like wind through tight corridors. Vexar rose slow. He unfolded his body, one joint at a time. His knees straightened, his spine rose, his shoulders rolled back. He stood tall again. 4 arms hung at his sides. 2 clenched into fists. 2 stayed open. He towered over Riley once more. Yet the space between them felt different now. Wider somehow, smaller somehow. He could not name it. He opened his mouth to speak. His voice came rough and cracked. "You dropped me. You used my own force." Riley nodded once. "Yes, I did. Your grip pulled me. You stepped forward to march me. I followed your direction. I changed it a little. Your weight did the rest." Vexar rubbed his elbow again. The joint throbbed deep. He felt heat in his face. Shame mixed with confusion. He looked around the hall. Faces stared back. Some wide-eyed, some narrowed, some curious, some afraid. A human male in the 3rd row leaned toward his neighbor and spoke low. She did not even break a sweat. The old Zorath instructor walked forward. His long legs moved without hurry. He stopped between them. He raised both thin hands, palms out. "Enough," he said. "The lesson ends here for today. We speak of what happened tomorrow. Trainees stay seated. No one leaves yet." No one argued. Trainees settled back. Some crossed arms. Some leaned elbows on knees. All eyes stayed on the center of the mat. Vexar turned his gaze back to Riley. He studied her now. Not as a trainee, not as a weak human, not as a target for correction. He looked at her the way he looked at a new weapon, or a strange form. Ship something. Unknown. Something that needed understanding. Her jumpsuit hung loose on her frame. No armor. No heavy plates. Her tool belt carried small items, wrenches, probes, a tiny light. No visible weapons. Her hands looked normal. Small fingers, short nails. Yet those fingers had found his weak point in half a second. Her legs looked thin, yet one had hooked his knee and pulled without strain. Her face stayed open. No mask, no snarl, just quiet attention. He spoke again, slower this time. "Why did you not fight back? Why did you not strike me?" Riley tilted her head a little. "I did fight back, just not the way you expected. Fighting back does not always mean hitting hard. Sometimes it means moving smart. You grabbed me. I moved with you. I used your strength, so I did not need much of mine." Vexar felt the words sink in. He remembered briefings about humans. They came from a death world, full of teeth and claws and storms. They survived not by growing bigger shells or sharper claws. Survived by thinking fast. By turning danger into advantage. He had dismissed those words as excuses for weakness. Now, the words felt heavy. Real. A trainee from the back called out, loud enough for all to hear. She did not use violence. She used skill. That is not fair. Another voice answered quick. It looked fair when he grabbed her first. Murmurs rose again. The instructor raised one hand again. "Quiet," he said. "We discuss rules tomorrow, not now." Riley looked at Vexar. She spoke soft so only he heard. "You are strong. Your people are strong. I respect that. I did not want to hurt you. I wanted the grab to stop." Vexar stared at her. He felt something shift inside his chest. Not anger, not hate. Something colder. Something like the first breath after long submersion. Respect, perhaps, or the edge of fear, or both mixed together. He had never feared a smaller being before. Today, he felt the first thin thread of it. He looked down at her arm again, the place he had gripped. Red marks, no fingerprints, no sign at all. His fingers had clamped hard enough to crush fruit, yet her skin stayed clear. He reached out slow. One upper hand hovered near her shoulder. He did not touch, he just pointed. "May I see?" Riley lifted her arm without hesitation. She turned it palm up. She showed the inside of her biceps. No bruise, no scrape, nothing. Vexar leaned closer. His eyes narrowed. He saw faint lines, Old scars, thin and pale. Training marks, perhaps. He saw muscle under the skin, small but tight. He saw no weakness there. He lowered his hand. He stepped back one pace. He spoke louder now so the class heard. I seized her arm to teach order. 10 seconds later, I learned something else. Trainees leaned forward. Some nodded. Some waited. Vexar continued. I learned that humans do not break easy. I learned that force alone does not win. I learned that I judged wrong. Silence fell again, heavy, thick. The words hung in the air like smoke. Riley spoke then. Her voice carried clear. I come from a place where people grab others sometimes. It happens. We learn young how to answer it. We learn to end the threat fast so no one gets hurt worse. We learn to protect ourselves and others. That is what I did here. Vexar nodded once slow. He felt his shoulders drop a little. The burn of shame eased a fraction. He looked at the class. He looked at the instructor. He looked back at Riley. The instructor spoke final words for the day. Class dismissed. Go now. Think on what you saw. We meet again tomorrow. We talk of respect. We talk of force. We talk of understanding. Trainees rose slow. Some walked past Riley and gave small nods. Some avoided her eyes. Some stared open. Some whispered as they left. Vexar stayed where he stood. He watched Riley gather her datapad. She tucked it under her arm. She looked at him one last time. Thank you, she said, for listening. Vexar said nothing. He only nodded. Riley walked toward the door. Her steps stayed even, calm, the same way she had entered, the same way she had moved through his grip, the same way she had put him on the floor. Vexar watched her go. He felt the empty hall around him. He felt the ache in his body. He felt the new weight in his mind. 10 seconds had changed more than his balance. 10 seconds had changed how he saw an entire species. He turned away slow. He walked to the front of the hall. He picked up his training staff. He held it tight. He did not know what came next, but he knew one thing for certain. He would never grab a human arm again without thinking first. Vexar stood alone in the empty training hall after the last trainee left. The lights dimmed to night cycle. He stared at the spot on the mat where he had fallen. The padding still held the faint shape of his body. He rubbed his right elbow again. The ache had dulled to a low throb. He felt no broken bones, no torn muscle, just bruised pride and a mind full of questions. He walked slow to the wall console. He pulled up the session recording. He watched the 10 seconds again and again. His hand reached out. Her arms stayed steady. She stepped in. She hooked. She pushed. He fell. The motion looked simple on the screen, yet it had happened to him. He paused the image on the moment his chest hit the floor. He stared at his own sprawled form. He felt heat rise in his face again. He shut off the console. He left the hall. The corridors of Unity Hub stretched long and quiet. He passed maintenance drones and night shift workers. Few looked at him. No one spoke. He kept his forearms loose at his sides. Walked to his quarters. He did not sleep much that night. Morning came with the soft chime of station lights. Vexar rose early. He ate a quick meal of protein cubes and nutrient paste. He dressed in his enforcer uniform. Black fabric tight over blue skin. He strapped on his duty belt. He headed back to the academy. He arrived before the first trainees. Riley was already there. She sat on a bench near the back. She read from her datapad. She wore the same gray jumpsuit. Her tool belt hung at her side. She looked up when he entered. She gave a small nod. No fear, no caution, just calm greeting. Vexar stopped a few paces away. He spoke low so only she heard. May I speak with you before the class begins? Riley closed her datapad. She stood. She followed him to a small side room used for private drills. The door hissed shut behind them. The room held one table, 2 chairs, and a training dummy. No windows, no cameras. Vexar gestured to a chair. Riley sat. He stayed standing. He spoke first. Have thought about yesterday. I judged you wrong. I judged humans wrong. I want to understand how you did it. Teach me. Riley looked up at him. She studied his face. She saw no anger, no trick. She saw honest need. She nodded once. Okay, but I am no master teacher. I know basics from my homeworld. I can show you what I know. Vexar pulled the other chair. He sat across from her. His knees almost touched the table. His forearms rested on the surface. 2 folded, 2 open. He waited. Riley began simple. She explained leverage first. Force goes where the body allows it. If you push against a wall, the wall pushes back. If you move with the push, you turn the force. She stood. She walked to the dummy. She placed one hand on its chest. She pushed slow. The dummy rocked. She then stepped to the side. She pulled the dummy's arm across her body. The dummy tipped forward, easy. She let it fall back into place. See, she said, the dummy has no mind. It follows physics. Your body yesterday had momentum. New path. Vexar rose. He walked to the dummy. He copied her move. He pushed, then pulled. The dummy fell the same way. He felt the shift. He felt how little strength he needed when direction changed right. He tried again, slower. This time he noticed the exact moment balance broke. He grunted once, satisfied. Riley continued. She showed him the elbow lock. His lower right arm, gentle. She bent it slow. She pressed the inside joint. He felt the pressure point again. No pain this time, just understanding. She released. He tried it on her arm. Careful. Light touch. She guided his fingers, showed him safe pressure. He learned fast. They worked for an hour. She showed hip throws, shoulder rolls, wrist escapes. Each move built on the last. Each used the attacker's power against them. Vexar moved careful. His size made some techniques hard. Yet he adapted. He bent his knees lower. He shifted his weight. He listened to every word. Riley never mocked him. She corrected gentle. She praised small wins. That is the line. Feel how your shoulder turns there. Yes. Keep the elbow soft. Vexar felt sweat bead on his brow. He felt muscles warm. He felt old habits fight new ones. He pushed through. He wanted to learn. He needed to learn. When the main class time neared, they stopped. Riley wiped her hands on her jumpsuit. She looked at him. You learn quick. Your body remembers force well. You just need new patterns. Vexar nodded slow. Thank you. I will practice. I will not grab without thought again. Riley smiled small. You are welcome. Respect goes both ways. They left the side room together. Trainees had started to arrive. Eyes followed them. Some whispered. Some stared. Vexar ignored them. He took his place at the front. Riley returned to her seat. The old Zorath instructor entered. He looked at Vexar. He looked at Riley. He raised one thin hand. Class begins. Today we speak of yesterday. We speak of force. We speak of respect. He turned to the class. Happened. A human trainee raised a hand. She spoke clear. The enforcer grabbed Riley to correct her lateness. She answered with technique. She ended the grab without harm. That shows control. A Vren trainee hissed, then spoke. Control, yes, but she humiliated him. The instructor looked at Vexar. Vexar stepped forward. He spoke loud enough for all to hear. She did not humiliate me. I humiliated myself. I assumed weakness. I used force without permission. She showed me my mistake. She showed me a better way. Trainees murmured. Some nodded. Some looked surprised. Vexar continued. I have trained with her this morning. She taught me leverage. She taught me redirection. I see now, humans survive harsh worlds not by raw power, but by smart power. I respect that to the class to respect it too. Silence followed. Then slow claps started. A few humans clapped first. Then airy feathers rustled in approval. Vren's scales clicked. Zorath observers nodded. The sound grew. The hall filled with respect. Riley sat quiet. She felt eyes on her. She kept her face calm. She had not asked for this. She had only defended herself. Yet the moment felt right. The instructor spoke again. From today, we add human defense to the curriculum. We learn not to grab without cause. We learn to ask. We learn to listen. Vexar will help teach these ways. Riley will help too, if she agrees. Riley stood. She nodded. I agree. I will share what I know. The class ended with new energy. Trainees talked in small groups. Some approached Riley with questions. Some approached Vexar to offer respect. He answered calm. He felt lighter somehow. Later that day, words spread through Unity Hub. Enforcers talked. Engineers whispered. Traders in the markets repeated the story. The fall of Vexar became legend. Not a tale of defeat. A tale of change. A tale of a human who taught without cruelty. Vexar walked the corridors different now. He greeted others with open hands. He listened more. He judged less. Ache in his elbow, like a reminder. He carried the memory of 10 seconds, like a lesson. Riley returned to her engineering shifts. She fixed relays. She tuned engines. She arrived on time when she could. Yet she carried herself the same, steady, calm, ready. In quiet moments, Vexar thought of her arm under his grip. He thought of the fall. He thought of the teaching. He smiled small to himself. 10 seconds had started as punishment. It ended as understanding. Months passed on Unity Hub after that first morning lesson. Vexar changed, slow but steady. He arrived early to every session. He spoke less and listened more. He practiced the moves Riley showed him in private. He taught them, careful, to any trainee who asked. He never grabbed another arm without clear reason and permission first. The Academy added human defense to the main list of subjects. Trainees signed up fast. Some came from curiosity. Some came from respect. Some came because they saw Vexar fall and wanted to understand why. Riley kept her engineering work. She fixed broken systems. She tuned life support. She repaired docking clamps. She still attended protocol classes when her shifts allowed. She answered questions from trainees. She demonstrated techniques on request. She never acted proud. She stayed the same quiet, helpful person she had always been. Vexar requested more private sessions with her. Not often, just enough to learn deeper. He asked about human history, their death world. He asked how small bodies survived big dangers. Riley answered honest. She told him about oceans that swallowed cities. She told him about storms that tore metal. She told him about animals with teeth longer than his fingers. She told him humans learned to dodge, to trap, to turn danger aside. She told him humans fought each other too much, so they invented ways to stop fights fast, without killing. Vexar listened hard. He took notes on his data slate. He practiced alone in his quarters. He bent his forearms in new ways. He shifted his weight different. He felt awkward at first. Then the moves started to feel natural. He grew better at redirection. He grew better at reading intent. He grew better at stopping before force began. One day the Academy Council called a full assembly. All instructors, all senior enforcers, all department heads gathered in the large central dome. The dome had clear walls that showed stars and the slow spin of the station. Vexar stood at the front podium. His uniform looked crisp. His forearms stayed relaxed at his sides. The council members sat in curved rows. They waited, quiet. The head counselor, a tall, slender Lirath with silver skin, spoke first. We have reviewed reports. We have watched recordings. We have heard testimonies. The incident, 10 seconds long, has changed training here. We invite Enforcer Vexar to speak. Vexar stepped forward. He looked across the dome. He saw faces from every species. He saw Riley seated near the back. She met his eyes. She gave a small nod. He began to speak. His voice carried clear and strong. I seized the human trainee's arm to enforce order. She arrived late. I thought weakness lived in her body. I thought my grip would teach respect. 10 seconds later, I hit the floor. I learned truth in those seconds. Humans do not yield to raw strength. They bend it. They redirect it. They survive by wisdom, not just power. He paused. He let the words settle. He continued, I judged wrong. I acted from old beliefs. Moment of disorder to teach order. That moment taught me more than years of drills. I asked Riley Voss to teach me. She did. She showed leverage. She showed timing. She showed respect. I practice her ways now. I teach them to others. I stand here today to say one thing. He raised one upper hand, palm out. I seized her arm to show dominance. 10 seconds later, she showed me true strength comes from understanding, not control. I ask this council to make respect the first rule. No grabs without cause, no force without need. We train to protect, we train to understand, we train together. The dome stayed silent for long breaths. Then claps started. Slow at first, then stronger. Voices joined. Some hissed approval, some clicked beaks, some thumped tails. The sound rolled like waves across the room. The head counselor rose. She spoke calm. The council accepts your words. We update protocol today. No physical correction without mutual agreement. We add human leverage arts to all levels. We name Riley Voss consultant instructor if she accepts. Riley stood slow. She walked to the front. She faced the council. She spoke clear. I accept. I will share what I know. I will help trainees learn to defend without harm. I will help enforcers learn to stop without force. Thank you for listening. More claps followed, louder this time. Vexar looked at Riley. He felt pride, not his own, hers shared. He stepped aside. He let her stand in the light. She looked small next to him, yet no one saw weakness now. After the assembly, life on the station shifted, quiet but real. Trainees practiced throws and rolls in every free hour. Aliens asked humans for tips. Humans showed patience. They corrected form. They praised effort. Some aliens still doubted at first. They tested moves. They lost balance. They fell. They rose laughing. They tried again. Vexar and Riley worked side by side often. They ran joint classes. He demonstrated power. She demonstrated flow. Trainees paired up. One grabbed, one redirected. Laughter mixed with grunts of effort. Sweat mixed with smiles. The hall that once held only strict silence now held life. Word of the change spread beyond Unity Hub. Ships carried stories to other stations. Traders repeated the tale in markets. Diplomats mentioned it in meetings. The fall of Vexar became a quiet legend. Not a story of shame, a story of growth. A reminder that even the strongest can learn from the smallest. One evening, Vexar found Riley in the observation deck. She sat on a bench. She looked at stars through the wide window. He walked over. He sat beside her. His bulk made the bench creak. He spoke soft. Thank you for teaching me more than moves. Riley turned to him. She smiled small. You were ready to learn. That made it easy. You could have stayed angry. You chose to grow. That matters most. Vexar looked at the stars. He thought of his homeworld. He thought of old ways. He thought of new ones. He spoke again. I will never forget those 10 seconds. They hurt my body. They opened my mind. Riley nodded. They hurt nothing permanent. They built something better. They sat quiet for a while. Stars moved slow outside. The station spun gentle. The two of them, one tall, one small, one blue, one pale, sat together in peace. In time, the title became station, saying trainees whispered it when someone acted rash. Enforcers said it when pride rose too high. Touch a human carelessly, and gravity will remind you who controls the fall. Vexar never seized another arm without thought. Riley never needed to drop anyone again. They both taught, they both learned, they both changed Unity Hub for the better. And somewhere in the vast dark between stars, a small human engineer and a tall four-armed enforcer proved one simple truth. Respect earned fast lasts longer than force given slow.